Hey guys, Stardust here and welcome back to another Dragon City video. The last Dragon City video I made was about elemental coverage and how you can land more crits and have an optimal team. So you can go watch that video before watching this one. It's very important that you know what elemental coverage is. Today we're going to be ranking vampires. Vampires are some of the most used dragons in Dragon City. They have a very potent skill called Leech Fang. Leech Fang does damage and heals you for that amount of damage done, which is insane. And they all have that skill. I'm not going to be ranking them for that skill. I'm going to be ranking them for their skill and their elements, because that's very important. So let's get this started. First vampire that was released is Prideful. Prideful's skill is Reckless Victory, which deals a huge amount of damage, but the user loses HP. How does this actually work? It sacrifices 20% of HP and heavily boosts the damage. However, the amount of damage boosted depends on the amount of HP sacrificed. So say you have half HP, you use Reckless Victory, is only going to sacrifice 10%, boosting damage, but it will not be as good. His Leech Fang and his skill both crit Fire and War. Fire and War. Fire and War. Fire and War.
I beg your pardon. I beg your
Which are two very common elements when it comes to defending, so he can use his Leech Fang and still double the amount of HP, which is very massive, honestly. Critting with Leech Fang is one of the better things you do. Plus, if he crits with Reckless Victory, it's a one shot in all cases, unless like the dragon is boosted with health perks and element boosts, but still it's a massive amount of damage. Back to Reckless Victory, I think when it comes to difficulty of use of Reckless Victory is medium, I would say, because you still have to decide where the most optimal time to use it. Maybe after a Leech Fang, maybe before a Leech Fang, maybe heal him with another dragon, then use it. So it's not that easy. It's not very straightforward to use. But the value you get from it is very high. I would say one of the better skills. One of the problems with him is his ice defending. It's not the best because fire and metal are fairly common, especially fire. So that down from being the best. I think he's a very decent dragon, so I'll put him an S. He's one of the better ones. Now, Wrathful. Wrathful vampire skill is called Fury Jabs. It deals huge damage. This is a lie. It's not huge, okay? It's fairly large, but it's dealt to a random opponent. This is bad because basically he's down an element. Say you just started, you're using Wrathful and there's a Prideful against you. You use it and it doesn't hit him. So it's just relying on luck to who you hit. Plus it's not even that big of a damage boost to make it a very viable skill. So when it comes to his skill, I would say Wrathful is very easy to use. You just press it and it deals a random damage, but it's not that much value. I'd say it's low value because you literally get nothing from it. It's just like a normal attack. His elements are decent, actually. The only problem with fire is a random attack. Unless there was one dragon alive, you're not going to rely on using that to crit. So where does this dragon belong in the tier list? I would say it's C. Yeah, it's not B. He's C tier. It's one of the worst ones. Next dragon is a Gluttonous. His skill, Final Ultimatum, is his skill. It deals higher damage the lower his HP is. This skill is actually insane, especially if you use the Phoenix perk, because he revives to 3% HP, and that is insane. You just bulldozes through it and it's exponential. It's the rise is exponential, so the lower it is, the higher the damage. So his skill is, I would say his skill is difficult to use it still, because you need to put him in a very risky spot to use it, which ends up with him dying most of the time. It's very difficult to keep him alive after using this skill. High value, I would say. This element coverage, having nature is not that common to see, so yeah, it's very good. And his Royal Leech is not bad, honestly. So I would put this dragon in the middle. He's not insane because his skill is risky, but it's not nowhere near bad. Next dragon is Envious. Envious has a skill called No Survivors, which deals a small damage to all opponents. Basically, if his normal attack deals 100,000 damage, it's gonna deal 33k to all 3 opponents. If he has 2, it's gonna split in half, so 50-50. And if there's 1 dragon, it's gonna deal all the damage to him. So it's basically just cuts the attack. He splits the attack on all the opponents. It's good and bad. It's good against shields, but that's literally all there is to it. It's good to not waste a turn, I guess, against a revived dragon with the Phoenix perk, because that will kill him and will deal some little bit of damage. But I would not call it insane. It's not that good. His elements are nice. Again, his elements are very nice. He has legendary, war, metal, and electric. So his elements are not bad. So I'll put him on a B tier. He's not better than. He's nowhere near Gluttonous. I would put him on B. The reason I didn't put him on C, because he actually has something with his skill. He can deal with shields. If you were playing against the 3 titans, just this attack will completely clear out all the shields they had. Next up is Sinful. Sinful and BloodGod both have chaos in their defending element. The thing is, with chaos defending, before the update to ancient elements, they were just shield that you cannot create, you cannot deal with. But after the update, especially after they gave us Morpheus for free in the Alliance chest 5-star, they are significantly common to see Morpheus, and he can crit this dragon. But still, chaos can crit two of the most common ancient elements, so I would say it's a buff and a nerf. It definitely stopped them from just being meat shields, but I think they're more fluid now and less bulky, because it still couldn't crit back then. Now it can. His special skill is Asphyxia. Deals low to medium damage but gives an extra turn. Probably the best skill, because there's no risk. You just press it, bam, you have an extra turn. You can switch out, like get a kill, switch out, or you can just deal extra damage. Especially if it crits, you can crit with it and then Leash Fang or something. Or you can switch out, as I said. So his skill is easy to use, and it brings very good values, brings high value. Thing about Sinful, that wind can crit pure.
Hey, stop it again! You don't that is a fact!
This time, yep. So I'll say his coverage is not bad, but it's not good per se. It's not insane. But still, this dragon is some of the best. He's S tier. He's not better than Prideful, but he is an S tier dragon. Next up is Bio-Augmented. Bio-Augmented has a skill called Vampiric Origins, which uses a random skill of its vampire comrades. And it uses, I think I'm right about this, it uses either Reckless or Fury Jabs or Final Ultimatum or No Survivors, which is bad because there is no situation where using this skill will give you a determinate value, because they're completely unrelated in a way. You see, there's a situation where you use no survivors, where using no survivors will be good, where using Reckless would be good, where using Final Ultimatum will be good, and when you're using Fury Jabs would be good. So say you're fighting against a 3 Titan team and you use it hoping you get final no survivors, then you and then you get Reckless Victory and you just waste the attack on the shield. So that's why it's really bad luck based skill. He has a decent Dark Leech, but again his skill is very luck dependent. It's easy to use, but it has low value. It's a chance to have high value, but still very luck based. It's basically a dice roll. So I'll put him on C tier. He's worse than Wrathful, because at least with Wrathful you know what you have. With Bio you don't know what you have. Next up is Greedy Vampire. Greedy Vampire has a skill called Megalomania, which mimics the last attack of the opponent. This skill is incredibly difficult. I have played with him on a account I had. If you get lucky and the opponent uses a skill that actually helps you in that situation, it's really good. But you're still relying on what dragons your opponent has and what skill they use, because you're playing against an AI, and AI may never even use the skills you want. And forcing that, it's possible to actually get some value out of it, but it's very difficult. You have to basically plan it out 5 moves before. It's really hard to use his skill, and the value it brings may not even be that good. His coverage is not that good. Having a Metal Leech is not the best, so I'll put him on the C tier. The worst vampire by far, sadly. He looks really good though, that's one thing about him. Next up is Hexed. Hexed skill is called Hex Agony. Hex Agony gives her 3 to 6 hits. I'll explain this a little bit because a lot of people don't get it. When it hits 3 to 6 times, 3 hits are equal to 1 normal attack. So basically it has the chance of hitting 100% of damage to 200% of the damage. So basically, if it's 3 hits is 100%, if it's 4 hits that's 130, 5 hits 160%, and 6 is 200% of the normal damage. Definitely good skill. It's very good against Titans because the first hit breaks the shield and then the other hits deal damage. Against Light Titan it's a one shot. Against the Dark Titan also, not Dark, Metal Titan is the one shot because Dark crits Light and Metal. It's also good against Karmas because Karmas absorb usually just shuts down the attack, but with Hex Agony deal damage to a Karma and sort of neutralize the threat, because before Hex Agony basically the Karma would block all of the hits, which was really bad. Also Titans had the same thing, but now it can the first hit just kills the shield and then damages the Titan, and the first hit maybe blocks by the Karma and the others don't, or maybe blocks the second or third. Anyway, it's better now against Titans and Karmas, which is really good. So her skill I would say is medium to difficulty to use, and it brings a high value. The thing with this skill, just as a tip, don't rely on luck. Use it in a way where if it hits 6 times you will get value out of it, especially when it comes to crits, because I think there's a bit of there's a lot of extra damage you can get with crits using Hex Agony. The problem is I would put her on S tier, but her elemental mix is bad, and her elements have good primal counters, so she's at the top of A tier. She's almost here, but I'll put her on A tier for good measures. Next up is Usurper. Usurper has a skill called Under the Bus Throw, which deals damage and then switches him out to another one. This is a good skill if you could pick who you switch out, because Asphyxia is way better because you can hit and then switch, and pick who you switch. The problem is you can't pick who you switch, and it can actually hurt you more than it helps you. So yeah, his skill is neat. Having Legend defending is really good because now only time can crit it, and there is dual perception and high corrupted time, but those are the only two like major threats when it comes to time. So he's fairly protected when it comes to crits, and his coverage is decent, so I'll put him on, he's not C tier, I'll put him on B tier. Now BloodGod. BloodGod has a skill called Blood Eclipse, which damages all opponents and heals all allies. It's basically Envious plus heals, which is good. Again, he has Chaos, so the same thing that I said about Sinful goes to him. It's a buff and a nerf to his Leash Fang. Now about Blood Eclipse, it's niche. Actually, it's not that insane. It's really good when it comes if he's the only one against like 2 or 3 dragons, because he will get the full heal. Because again, as I said, the heal and damage split to 3. If he's the only one, he will get the full heal and deal damage, which is basically 2 moves in 1 turn, which is really good. He can also heal twice in a row, so he can Leech Fang and then Blood Eclipse, which gives him a very good very good survivability. His coverage is decent, and he's a very good all-rounder. I'll put him on S, but he's not better than Sinful in my opinion. Sinful is really good, he's not better than him, he's at the bottom of S. I would even place him on par with Hexed when it comes to utility, but Hexed has too many weaknesses to be put on S. Now the big boy, High Voodoo Vampire. There's a skill called Voodoo Vortex, which uses either Asphyxia or Reckless Victory or Blood Eclipse. Still luck dependent, but really good skills in my opinion. His Leash Fang being magic is not the worst, but he can get crit by Chaos, which is very important to note. Still, I don't think that puts him down at all, and I think he's the best vampire in the game when it comes to heroic. The only problem with him is really difficult to get in power, but just being a heroic vampire with a Leash Fang is really good. When it comes to utility, I still think Prideful is better, but he is a really good vampire because he's a heroic vampire, plus having 3 of the best skills basically. He literally has the skill of all the S tiers. I think I've done it fairly. I think this tier list is balanced. I don't think it's the best tier list out there. I don't think my opinions are the best, but I'm pretty sure I tried to be as objective as I can about the game, about the vampires and their skills. Of course, still all vampires are mythical and they are better than all the other dragons, so even if you have a bad, between quotes, bad vampire, he's still a good dragon to use and empower. But definitely if you want to play on a high level, I would say empower from Gluttonous and up, maybe Envious if you're feeling fancy. And that is all about vampires. Please, if you have any opinions or something that I missed, comment down below. I would be happy to hear your opinion and your takes about this. And thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned, I'll post one for... I'll try to make a tier list for all the VIPs soon. But this is the first one because vampires are very important and you need to know what they do and you need to know how powerful they are. And if any updates happen to them or elements or something, I'll come back to this one and I'll come back to the tier list and fix it up. Thanks a lot for watching. Like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll be posting more Dragon City soon. And thanks a lot for watching. See you later. Bye.